Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and today I have yet another Phalaenopsis video for you. Today the video is a bit different. We're gonna talk about the challenge and also the perks of trying to identify, and here I'm gonna put identify really between brackets, some of the Phalaenopsis that we buy locally. I will also talk to you a little bit about how these plants are identified when they come from their nurseries, and we're going to explore the topic together. If that's something that you're curious about, if you, like me, when you buy some Phalaenopsis, you're like, oh, maybe they have a commercial name, maybe they don't. Maybe we know what's called, maybe we don't. Stay here and let's talk about it together. The first thing that you have to tackle here is this beautiful Phalaenopsis that we buy from nurseries and maybe an orchid fair as well. So these Phalaenopsis, usually they come with a tag, and the tag will have the identification of this plant. So how growers can actually, not only growers, but people that will sell these plants from their own nurseries, how can they know exactly the identification? Is because they know the registered parents when it's a hybrid, they know the breeding of the plant. So most of the time, the tags will be accurate. It can happen that one tag's mixed with another. It can happen that you have a plant with a wrong tag, even coming from an orchid nursery, but usually we would trust that they knew how to identify these plants because how they actually purchase the plant, and they know the parents of the plant, and they know the hybrid. And for this reason, that's the best way for us to actually buy plants with a tag and being completely, let's say, almost completely sure of the identification of our orchids and our Phalaenopsis. However, different of something like this that I bought from an orchid nursery that has a proper tag, and I know its ID, I have so many other Phalaenopsis that came without any identification. Most garden centers, supermarkets, or home improvement stores, we're gonna find Phalaenopsis hybrids. They are mass-produced, and most of them don't come with a name. Even if it looks like something popular, like for example the Phalaenopsis Sogo Sakura, that's what I think this little one is called, there is also a high chance that's just one of the many similar complex hybrids bred for appearance, but not exactly for us to know who the parents are. We have to remember that these plants, when they are sold massively, like Phalaenopsis are in supermarket near here, the producers or the labs, they don't care about their parents. They are not created so people will find their identification. They were created for their appearance and for their traits, and for this reason it's quite difficult to know what they're called or who the parents are for sure. Most of these hybrids, they're not even registered hybrids. They have some commercial names. Yeah, as I said again, very difficult to track its lineage. Not only that, but these little hybrids here, they are a result of many generations of complex hybrids being crossed among themselves. So it's almost impossible for us as home growers to identify these plants for sure. It's only possible to identify this plant if you have access to a lab-grade DNA testing or breeder records. Identifying the exact hybrid is usually impossible. So, taking that out of the way, we can come closer to some names based on some pictures, but we can never be 100% sure of what is inside the DNA of these plants. And why I'm telling you that? Because even in this case here, that I think the Sogo Sakura, we can have plants have the same color, pattern, the same flower shape, the same type of leaves, but they might not be the same hybrid because we don't know which hybrids and which parents were actually hybridized together to create them. So it's a very complex issue, so we never know for sure. Now I'm going to talk about my own experience and what I do with these hybrids. I like to try to find find a name to my hybrids just for my own sake, so I can name my plants, but it's just to take notes. And when I'm looking after them, I can say, oh, that's my Sogo Sakura, or that's my, I don't know, Sogo Vivian. But in the end, I never be completely sure if these are actually those hybrids or not. They are just very similar. And it helps me to guide myself when I'm looking at my flowers. I like to name them. I think that's a human thing. So how I try to find the name of these little plants. So that's what I'm going to tell you now. It's not scientifically approved, but let's go with this one. This one is my Sogo Sakura. I think it's a Sogo Sakura. This one is an easy to look for hybrid out there because not only is available in supermarkets, garden centers, it is all over the place. On top of that, it has this typical lavender tone of purple and pink with a white center, and it's a very compact Phalaenopsis. Looking online, I would say that this looks very close to the Sogo Sakura. Am I completely sure that it is the Sogo Sakura? No. But I love the fact that I do have this plant, and it's looking so beautiful. My next example is one that looks very similar to the Sogo Relax. Looking at the flowers, people would say, oh, it is a Sogo Relax. However, I had a Sogo Relax years ago. The leaves of my Sogo Relax were very different from this one. This one I found locally in a garden center here in the UK. It's a beautiful Phalaenopsis with like this dark purple petals and sepals, very thick, waxy, that looks like almost red when you look at the flowers. It's beautiful. Doesn't have exactly fragrance, but I have no idea the name of this plant. But if I try to track it online, using the pictures of the flowers, would point me to the Sogo Relax. Can be related to it, might not be related to it, but it is very similar. So I use it just as a note, and the only reason why I think it's not a Sogo Relax, because otherwise it's, oh, it is a Sogo Relax looking at the pictures, is because actually I had a Sogo Relax, and I think the flowers are a bit different and the leaves are completely different. But it is there, and I will note down like, oh, it's similar to the Sogo Relax. That's it. That's as far as I can get with that. And now, some of the techniques that I use to identify some of these Phalaenopsis. Let me grab another example here. There we go. It's actually using Google Lens. So you can go to your smartphone, open your Google Lens, take a picture of your Phalaenopsis and say, find a visual match. What will happen is it will show you a ton of other flowers that are similar to the ones that you have. So I'm going to give you an example here. I have these based on the database. My example is that I have these beautiful yellow Phalaenopsis that has slightly thicker petals and sepals. It's very different from other hybrids that I have in my collection. So when I saw it at the supermarket last year, it's like, oh, I want to have it because it's different from other things that I have. Great, I brought it home. Can I identify it for sure? No, but I went to Google Lens, why not? And I have some names. Let me find my phone here to tell you what I discovered looking at the lens. The most similar plants were, let me grab it. So for example, this yellow one here, according to Google, could be, and that's the most similar one, Phalaenopsis Sogo Ginger Glam. I am sure it is this one? No, but I would definitely add it as a tag for this one. So maybe if you find something similar, it might be it, it might not be it. Same thing with my pink and yellow Phalaenopsis. Let me see if I can find it here, the name. So I have this Phalaenopsis that is beautiful, that I also found locally. That's the advantage of having Phalaenopsis, complex hybrids. We can have a variety of different ones with different fragrance, different texture, different colors. So this one is pink with a yellow lip, and I think it's adorable. And what I found on Google Lens is that it might be Phalaenopsis Stay Fun Dancing Queen. Again, it's just for my notes, and I think it's super fun to play with it because we might get closer to one of the parents of these plants, and we can find similarities. So it's like a nice activity to do at home. And then what else I had discovered? That some of them I don't get closer to anything, like this orange one here. even with Google Lens, didn't find any hybrids that got even closer to what I have in here. So it's just a simple no-ID as most of them, but it's nice and fun. And lastly, this cutie here, this is, I think, a commercial hybrid. And because it is one of these commercial hybrids that one company will sell a ton of them, it was quite easy to find the commercial name, but that's not a tag, it's not an identification. It's just how it's called commercially, that Phalaenopsis New Life. And I forgot the name of the company that sells these hybrids, but there are a few things, not only how from the company that it came in. I don't think the pot has anything anymore, no. But yeah, it's one of these commercial hybrids, like the Phalaenopsis bulgari, for example. It's another commercial hybrid. So this one, it's white, has some freckles, but when you look at the back of the plant, you're gonna see some purple and pink, and has no fragrance, but I think people like it because it's one of these compact Phalaenopsis with a ton of small flowers, so it's very cute. But with these commercial hybrids, then it's even more difficult. We never know what the parents were supposed to be because, as I said, they only gave these hybrids a name to sell them. It's not necessarily a form of identification. It's the same thing with the Phalaenopsis that I bought from Colibri, and I recorded a video reporting, and a viewer said, look at the plant passport, you might find any clue about the identification of this plant. And unfortunately, no, I didn't. It's just saying where the plant came. There is a serial number saying that it was imported from Europe, and that was basically, it was just saying Phalaenopsis. Sometimes you can find a tag on the pot of your plant. It's very common with Oncidiums intergenerics. You'll find a name in there and you can use it to know which type of flower you get. With Phalaenopsis, sometimes you might get a commercial name, but most of the time, not going to be very helpful. And some of these commercial companies that produce hybrids, they will give these plants names, so you can use that to just call your plant New Life, New World, whatever name you can give to your plants. There are people that want to name their plants like a people's name. I know someone who does that, so yeah, it's just fun. As I told you, we like to give names to our little plants. And it's fun because we can play around and try to discover which of these hybrids, what they are and what they look like. So in the end, doesn't matter if you can identify your orchid or not. What matters is the care that you offer to your Phalaenopsis. It is also a practical way to keep track of your plants and your collection. If you're curious like me, or if you like documenting what you have, do your research, browse the internet, use your observations, and enjoy growing your plants. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you have fun with me while you investigate some of these complex hybrids. And I also hope you have lovely blooms in your collection at the moment. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to my channel because it does help me a lot.